The Prime Minister's meeting with President Xi at the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro comes at a pivotal moment marked by geopolitical upheaval, shifting alliances, and Starmer's diplomatic language underscores an aspiration for a consistent, durable, respectful UK-China relationship, which is great, marking a departure from the recent Conservative-led adversarial standoffs, the policies. This gesture, however, balances on a global tightrope as the UK seeks to maintain cultural, economic ties, cultural relevance while addressing human rights and sanctions concerns. And Starmer's nod to Rachel Reeves' upcoming economic engagement in Beijing signals that economic pragmatism is prioritised within Labour's foreign policy. Meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin's elaboration on Russia's nuclear policy at a routine meeting further complicates the international landscape, and his rhetoric emphasising the nuclear deterrence in response to perceived Western encroachments framed the updated military doctrine as a bulwark against evolving threats and the expansion of conditions under which Russia might deploy nuclear force, especially in cases of perceived aggression involving NATO-aligned or nuclear-supporting states that support a non-nuclear state. It sends a stark reminder of Russia's strategic red lines as these have been redefined, along with the redefinition of Russia's border to include the states in the Donbass. President Joe Biden's authorization for Ukraine to use long-range ballistic missiles on Russian territory, confirmed at the summit this morning, amplifies this context. And while the US justifies the step in response to the North Korean troop involvement and Iranian armies supplying aid to Russia, the Kremlin has characterized it as a shift towards direct US involvement, heightening risks of a border confrontation. And Putin's warnings suggest a reinforced nuclear posture intended as a deterrent not only to Ukraine but as a signal to NATO and its allies, implicitly framing US decisions as steps towards escalation. In this precarious milieu, Starmer's diplomatic engagement with China serves as an attempt to diversify the UK's strategic options and to offer more bargaining opportunities. Xi's emphasis on trade and mutual cooperation contrasts with the looming shadow of military conflict in Europe, underscoring China's ambition to cement its influence as a stabilizing force or as an opportunistic balancer in the strained Western-Russian relations. The Rio summit, therefore, is emblematic of a multipolar world where strategic dialogue and military posturing converge, leaving leaders like Starmer to navigate through a maze of alliances and adversaries. As the UK tries to maintain its relevance on the world stage, Starmer's engagement with Xi represents either a bridge to balanced diplomacy or a tightrope walk complicated by nuclear rhetoric and great power posturing. The stakes articulated through Putin's stringent nuclear doctrine and his threat of a broader confrontation, and the US's escalated involvement reaffirms that even dialogues rooted in economic cooperation carry undercurrents of strategic urgency.